That would be fantastic. We are joined together today because I wanted to give you an overview of what is the most powerful program inside of the Black National Speakers Association. It's a program that we've been running for more than, I want to say, 7 years now. And in our last mastermind group, collectively, among 30 speakers, we wound up earning $3.7 million. How did we do it? Well, it's all thanks to the original brainchild behind this program from Ms. Ann McNeil, who is our master builder and mentor who has guided us through this process. Let me tell you a little bit about how it works. The BlackNSA Million Dollar Mastermind started as a desire among members of the community to help speakers, established speakers, as well as newbies, folks who are just even starting to consider this process of being a speaker, to change their mindset around money, to help them grow and scale profitable speaking businesses. And the way that we do that is by reading this book, Think and Grow Rich. You can see mine is pretty tattered with lots of tape flags from years and years of use. Think and Grow Rich is the first ever business book in the United States written by Napoleon Hill. Now, it was written in the time of the Depression, around the 1930s, at a time when the US economy was tanking. And so Napoleon Hill interviewed the top industrialists of his age to find out how they became wealthy, how they kept their wealth, and what was the mindset that was necessary in order to grow fortunes of millions and millions of dollars, even from those who were not typically educated, came from very, very meager means, and also wound up generating billions at the time of dollars in their respective industries by changing the way they thought about money. And so over the last many years, I've been through the mastermind now 7 times. This will be my 8th time going through the mastermind. It has been an incredible process where we as speakers come together to study this book and also form a community that is here for the purpose of elevating and holding accountable one another in this group to grow their businesses and frankly grow themselves as entrepreneurs. Within this supportive community context, we've found a whole new way of lifting one another up, setting really, really big reach goals, and exceeding them in many, many cases. So what can I tell you about me? I'm Susan Lindener. I'm the founder and CEO of Innovation Storytellers. And like you, I'm a speaker. I spend most of my time speaking to innovation audiences, chief innovation officers, and folks who have the innovation purpose as part of their work. And I just in 2017 was starting out in the speaking career. I came to influence the showcase annual event of the National Speakers Association and wound up stumbling into BlackNSA, one of the most dynamic organizations inside of the National Speakers Association. And there I began learning from other speakers. An incredible and inclusive community. The BlackNSA is actually the first digital chapter of the National Speakers Association, and it is the biggest chapter, independent chapter within the National Speakers Association. So we're very proud of what we've accomplished. And if you don't know about BlackNSA, it is a board-driven organization, all of volunteer members who seek to provide more and more opportunities for speakers of color to achieve pay parity, to get on the best stages in the world, and to support one another with learning and educational opportunities. So this mastermind is a special one because it provides new ways of thinking about our businesses and creating networks that we never had before to grow those businesses. So I want to share a little bit with you about how the Black National Speakers Association Million Dollar Mastermind actually works. Each week, we begin in both the spring and the fall, and we have a 10-week program that goes through and reads almost a chapter a week of this book. And with it comes goal setting, exercises, as well as accountability calls with buddies that members of the mastermind get. We set big goals and we ask an accountability buddy to hold each other accountable to the goals that we set. Each week, we click through the progress that we make and the lessons that we learn from this very amazing, magical book. As we go through the 10 weeks, you'll be broken up into little groups, subgroups, where we really dive into the reading. We share our experiences, and most importantly, we share our challenges. Where are we getting stuck? Where are we unable to push through? Where we need contacts and connections for those speaking gigs that we'd really like to get? Or perhaps even other mentors and peers that can help us learn something like book publishing, web design, social media, all of those things that help us run our business. You will find brilliant people in this organization who have all of those skills. What happens during this 10-week intensive process in the mastermind is that you wind up meeting the people who help you reach your goals faster. Everyone in this group is open and committed to supporting one another. And it's probably one of the greatest takeaways for folks who join the mastermind is finding a safe place, a soft place where people can actually share their vulnerabilities and what's challenging in their business with like-minded and like-spirited people. Now, the mastermind, I should say, is not for everyone. If you are a person who wants to come once a week, but doesn't have time or the inclination to go through and do the reading, that might be challenging because other people will hold you accountable to the goals that you set. If you are interested in kind of coasting and maybe just checking it out without having the oversight and interest from a peer who's fascinated by the work you do and wants to help you succeed, but it's challenging maybe for you to connect or give back, that might not be the right time right now. If you know that you are traveling extensively and maybe can't make time for 90 minutes just once a week in your schedule to participate in our weekly meetings every Monday, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, if that's a challenge for you, then you might think about, I would recommend rearranging your schedule a little bit or coming and joining us for the next cohort. So if those restrictions make it difficult for you to participate, then seriously talk with one of us, some of the facilitators who are on this call, or feel free to connect with us at the BlackNSA office at gmail.com. And we're happy to put you in touch with folks who can help you figure out whether or not this is the right time right now. I want to just stop for a minute and pause and see if we have any questions from the audience of folks who are thinking about joining, or anything I can share about how the group is run and what you might be thinking about or questions you might have. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the information you provided so far. The questions that I had were prior to the start date, which I think is the second Monday in March. Do I have that correct?
March 12th. Yep. March 11th. Sorry, did I get that right, Teresa? March 11th. Yep.
Are there any, is there anything that needs to be done prior to that day? And then what's to be expected on that day? Those are my questions.
Fantastic. So March 11th is our kickoff, our orientation day, where we'll give you all the information that you need. What you'll need to do before starting is to buy this book, Think and Grow Rich. And you can find the blue book on this occasion. This is the one that we use largely because our mentor, Ann McNeil, is actually featured in this book as well. So this is the one that you want. And we come to the orientation, you won't have to have anything read on March 11th. The following week, when we kick off in earnest, you'll need to have chapter 1 read, and that's it. It's short and sweet, and it gives you a good overview of what the book is all about. So that's it. That's the only prep you need.
Thank you, Susan. I did get the book, so I'm a little ahead of the game. I'm really excited as well.
Fantastic. That's great news. So a little bit more that you should know about the mastermind. So one of the best things about membership in the Black National Speakers Association is that for your first year of membership, you get free participation in one mastermind. Now, premium membership in Black NSA is $400, and the mastermind itself is $349. So you pretty much get your entire membership covered when you join. You get the mastermind covered when you join as a member. Not to mention, as a premium member, you get all the educational benefits of our monthly educational sessions, not to mention access to the entire Facebook community and members only groups within BlackNSA. So it really is your best way to come into the mastermind is to join BlackNSA. And you'll be turned on to a world of other benefits that come from joining the larger chapter. Plus, it's our desire to spread the BlackNSA message all throughout the speaking community, giving speakers of color a much higher profile within the speaking world. And by contributing to BlackNSA as a chapter, you're participating in a whole other world of elevating Black speakers everywhere. So, and I want to say that on a global basis, BlackNSA is actively participating around the world with speakers of color and elevating the profession as a whole. So one other thing I just want to share about the mastermind is that it is a group of very dedicated individuals. We typically have anywhere between 30 and 50 speakers joining on this call. So you're really tapping into the best of NSA on this call. These are all people who are dedicated to one thing and one thing only for 10 weeks, and that is growing their business and growing themselves as individuals, not necessarily just as speakers, but as business professionals in the speaking world. So we're dedicated to helping one another learn quickly and grow quickly. And you will find within the mastermind, these smaller groups, these focus groups that are led by trained facilitators will help you to form connections that you never previously had in the speaking world, even if you've been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. We find there is so much sharing. There's opportunity for referral and opportunity for skills building in areas that we never even knew we needed previously. I think for me personally, having been through this, starting this off going, what is this thing, Think and Grow Rich? I was beyond skeptical getting started. I didn't think you could think and grow rich. I thought you had to work yourself to the bone to grow rich. What I learned is that I, as a speaker, was getting in the way with my insecurities or self-doubt, or the way that I needed to train my mind to be open to new opportunities was what was missing. And so often I think those of us in the speaking profession are really doing it on our own. Sometimes being a road warrior can feel really lonely in this business. And the mastermind has proven an incredible conduit to not just meet people in other NSA chapters around the country, but to actually connect with people in person when we're on the ground speaking in different locations. It's been an incredible tool for me to meet people in San Francisco and New Orleans, here in New York, my hometown, as well as all over the country. So it provides a connecting hub for so many of us. And lastly, I don't know about you, but there are some days I feel like hitting everything on my to-do list, and some days I don't. Having an accountability meeting scheduled every Friday for me in my calendar with my accountability buddy changed everything. It wasn't, yeah, I'll get to it, or yeah, I'll put it off till next week. That newsletter should really go out. I should really make those social media posts. I should let the world know that I just landed my biggest contract ever. Having an accountability buddy allows us to do things that we never thought possible on our own. You have the sense for the first time that I'm not really doing this alone anymore. And this whole community, both of current participants in the mastermind, as well as alumni, will also be there supporting you along the way. So one other thing that I'll share about the mastermind that perhaps doesn't get enough attention is that the educational opportunities that are available to the whole chapter of BlackNSA Sometimes we even create what we call spotlight or starlight moments within our 10-week process, where we invite the best of the mastermind alums to come back and talk to us about the skills that they acquired during the mastermind that changed everything for them. And so those spotlight moments of learning and sharing are something that you only get inside of the mastermind. So I'm going to pause one more time and see if anyone else has any other questions. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, asking the question, is this for anyone who's just starting? It was for newbies as well as very, very successful speakers. So we have some members who are in this group who had never charged for a speaking engagement before, or just getting started in a speaking career first time. So absolutely, this is a huge benefit. I wish I would have gotten started with this when I first learned about it. It took me a little while to get on board, but I can tell you the number of shortcuts that I've learned, or frankly, the ability to see around corners, things I never would have anticipated. So an example of that is, how do I write my contracts in a way that's most advantageous to me? What other clauses do I need to think about in case I get mass cancellations like during COVID? How do I think about adding in benefits to my contract if a client can't pay my full fee? These are all things that I learned from other members of the mastermind that taught me ways of getting a return on my investment, even when I couldn't charge when I was just getting started. So things like that were really, really helpful. And the other thing I want to share is that we have speakers in this group who are earning millions of dollars while in the mastermind. And being able to be in a room with million-dollar speakers of that caliber, and to learn from them, people who are very generous and share freely with their experiences, is priceless. I don't know what other group I could walk up to someone who's at the very top of their game. People who are collecting, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 in a speaking engagement, and learn from them how they're doing it. So I think it's absolutely beneficial. And I think that's why million-dollar speakers keep coming back to the million-dollar mastermind. It's also a place where they feel really comfortable and keep learning along the way.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. So I also noticed that my friend Wyman Winbush is also on this call. And I'm wondering if Wyman might be interested in joining me and sharing a little bit about his experience on this too. Wyman, are you here with us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome, welcome.
All right. Yeah, and I don't know how to turn my camera on, but I will share, if I might, the question about, hey, is it for people who are new? It's kind of like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And so people who have been speaking for 20 plus years gain new revelation and insight, not just because of the mastermind, but when you rub elbows with those who are of like mind and like mindset, they bring a perspective to the table that you can't bring by yourself. And so one of the phenomena that those who have been through the mastermind multiple times, let alone been speaking for a while, is each time you get a new revelation, a new piece of the puzzle is gained that helps you become a better speaker. And it helps your pursuit of perfection, knowing that you'll never obtain it. But every time you go through a mastermind, you're one step closer to getting there. And so that would be my encouragement. Don't worry about whether you're first year in or you're 101st year in. It's well worth the investment in the mastermind as it relates to moving the ball forward, moving your career forward, moving your speaking efforts forward. It just makes you a more effective speaker. And Susan, that's what I would share. I thought that was relevant to the last question asked.
Fantastic. Hi, Jason. Do you have a question for us too?
No, I don't have a question. I'll just kind of second what Wyman said.
Mhm.
I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, brother. But I've gone through this mastermind class before when I first got into the speaking business. I've been doing it since 2018, and I can 100% attest to the fact that it is absolutely worth it. Well worth the time, as Wyman said, the investment and the mindset, most importantly. What I would say to those that are beginning, if you're trying to figure out how to do it, all that stuff, you're going to be around people who have been doing it, and then you're also going to learn that the speaking business itself is about how do you set yourself up for success, and really how do you convince somebody to hire you, and that's all about a mindset. And so I would just second that it's well worth it, having gone through it before, and I'm thinking about going through it again as I'm refocusing my efforts on different elements of my speaking business. And so just want to just add that piece of information to the group.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I also want to call up my own accountability buddy, Amani Roberts, who has been holding my feet to the fire for a good 10 weeks at a time. Amani, what's your experience of being in a really accountable group? What does that feel like?
It feels good. I'm tempted to ask Susan, how's the book coming along? But I'll wait. I'll save that for our next session. But I will say the accountability is great. I think to answer the question that was asked, I believe by Martine, about new people that are speaking, I think that we have all different levels of speakers, some new, intermediate, and advanced, but we all are in this kind of not game, but like in this journey together, because things change so quickly that we're always learning new things. And I think just being around people, seeing the systems they use, how they have their mindset set to really think big, has really helped me personally. And then also just having Susan as an accountability partner was great, and just really pushed me to do, more things and to take action. So that's kind of how I'll answer that question.
Yeah. So thank you for the question about my book. Amani's been holding my feet to the fire for quite some time on this, and I've been dragging my heels. So I have a whole new work plan for my book, Amani. Thank you very much for asking me, and I'll be asking you to hold me accountable again when we start in March. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's a deal.
It's a deal. So these are the kinds of relationships. I know my very first accountability buddy, I am still in contact with today. It's been since 2017. So I also want to say that the friendships and connections that we make in the mastermind really feel like lifelong ones. I know that if I'm in Las Vegas or Los Angeles, I know that I can call Amani up and say, hey, I'm going to be in town, let's get together. And it's not even going to be a question whether or not we're going to make that happen. It's just, it's suddenly you feel like you have anchors around the country that you didn't know you had before. And also learning partners, people that we can learn from, that maybe we don't feel comfortable reaching out on LinkedIn to someone we've had a brief interaction with. The intensity of how we go through this book and how we share openly about our businesses makes for really deep connections with people that are very different from basic networking of just hanging out once a month with our respective chapters. It's a whole different level of connection. And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest takeaways for me, is making very unique and powerful, really heartfelt spiritual connections with people that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So with that, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. It's around 5:26. And I just want to give one more plug for the mastermind. The way that you find the mastermind is to go to BlackNSAspeakers.org. That's where you'll find the mastermind. You can sign up right there. If you do sign up for the chapter, I strongly recommend signing up for BlackNSA at the chapter level. And there's the link again, BlackNSAspeaker.org. If you want to go just for the mastermind, just hit /mastermind, and you will find all the signups there. I assure you, the bonuses and the benefits will well be worth your time. And I would be shocked if you didn't make up the $349 price for the mastermind within the 10 weeks of you closing new business that you didn't think possible. So if there are no further questions,